welcome back to another episode of the Amateur Hour Podcast. Once again, Colin is joining me.
Hello!
My name is Jacob, and today we're talking about the NBA. I have a proposal.
Really?
I have a proposal.
What's the proposal?
If the NBA removes the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, one league, 30 teams, top 16 make the playoffs, seeded 1 through 16, 1 plays 16, 2 plays 15, all the way through. 7-game series, all the way to the NBA championship. How do you feel?
I think it would be exciting. Especially come playoff time. Like, regular season, I don't think it'll change much, like, in terms of who plays who and whatnot. There won't be any divisions, so I guess... I think they would still make the schedule kind of favor, like, travel and stuff. Like, you would play
a little bit.
Teams close, right? Like, you're not going to go, like, LA and then back to Toronto and then, like... You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think it'll be similar in the way that they have it now, but come playoff time, that'll be really exciting. Like a 1 seed against a 16 seed. Everyone will cheer for the 16 to upset the 1. I think it'll be really exciting, and it'll be good because it'll get the teams that deserve to be in the playoffs actually in the playoffs. Every year there's a Western Conference team that I feel deserves to be in the playoffs that is not, and every year in the East there's a team that is at or maybe even a little under 500 and makes the playoffs. So yeah. I think in terms of that, it'll kind of balance out that aspect.
Yeah, it's no secret that the West is stacked compared to the East, and it's like the 5th seed in the West could win the East, like based on talent. Like you could talk about last season in the Western Conference where the Jazz could have probably challenged for a top spot in the East. Probably wouldn't have won the East, but the Rockets could have won the East.
And I think it'll be even more interesting to see Western Conference versus Eastern Conference playoff matchups.
Yeah.
In the first, couple rounds. And it'll be cooler to see, like, maybe the best 2 teams in the league, right? Like, for example, last year you saw the Rockets and the Warriors meet up in the second round. That would be eliminated almost completely in the 1-6.
That's what I mean. They would be much higher.
The better teams would go further in the tournament.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's more intriguing to me. I think this is definitely something that they should consider. The best example of the failed Western and Eastern Conference situation is the 2013-14 season. If you finished 48-34 in the East that year, you were a top 3 seed. The Raptors finished 48-34. They were the 3rd seed in the East. If you finished 48-34 in the West, you did not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Phoenix Suns finished 48-34 and missed the playoffs.
Did not make the playoffs at all.
If they were in the East, never mind that they played more Western Conference teams as well. If they were in the East, they would have been a 3 or 4 seed. But they are a 9 seed in the West.
Yeah.
This is why they should definitely consider it. And
it'll be really interesting.
Like typically, like, if I'm going to be completely honest, if the Raptors had to play more Western Conference teams on the road to the final last year, I don't know if they win.
It could have been a different result.
I don't know if they win. If, you play a team that's healthy, like the Warriors weren't healthy, maybe it's a different result. Mm-hmm. And, teams, in the East, I don't think would really be able to get to the finals, with the teams that they have right now. The LA teams are stacked. The Nuggets are pretty stacked this year, even without Jokic playing well. They're still phenomenal.
It would keep the better teams in the playoffs for longer, and I think in terms of the NBA and ratings, that'd be great. Fan engagement, social media, that would all really help them in terms of that aspect because you're keeping your stars on the court in the playoffs for longer.
Yeah.
Right. Last year, the NBA took a bit of a hit. Why? Because LeBron was in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. It'll keep your stars in the playoffs longer. Theoretically, right? Avoiding any, catastrophic upset or anything. But I think it'd be really cool. Do I see them implementing it?
Probably not.
Probably not. But it's definitely a cool dynamic.
I know. Okay. I want you like to do this with my questions that you don't like answering. You hover around saying, "Oh, it'd be cool if they did it," but I don't know if they do it. I want you to say, should they do it or should they not do it? I hate when you dance around questions like this.
Should they?
I think. Let me go first. They should implement this. This will make sure the best teams get further and the best 2 teams are in the NBA Finals.
Okay. Should they? Yes. Will they?
No.
Probably not.
Okay.
There you go.
You think they should?
I just answered yes. I think they should. Based off of the points we've been making up, is there any negative side to
The only negative I could see is that maybe because if they favor travel, Eastern teams play more Eastern teams, but like even still, like the problem it still stands even with the conferences. I think I really don't see negatives. It's
but
tough for me to
don't
see.
you think like I think switching up like the whole not like the whole dynamic of the league, but like switching up the like way that the league plays out, that would like that would be...
I could see a marketability issue for like it sounds a lot better finishing 4th in the West than finishing 8th in the NBA
or finishing 15th.
Yeah, like
right?
We finished 7th in the West. Oh, we finished 15th in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like I think marketability wise, fan wise,
I think it would just be like people would still understand that they make the playoffs, but I think when you're thinking about it, it doesn't make you feel like your team is as good as they really are.
Because you go 15 versus the 2 seed. You as the 15, you think
right, especially in the West, right? Like you could go like 48 and whatever we said, 34, right? Like you could do that and still become a 7th seed, but now with that, you would probably be 7th in the entire NBA or 8th, and that would make it look even better.
But for teams, I mean marketing to teams who aren't like as good but still make the playoffs. Like let's take this season. Now let's go last season. Let's say the Pacers. They finished 5th in the East, 48-34. If they were in the West, they would if it was a full league, they'd probably finish like 14th or 5th, like 14th, let's say. In that case, if you finish 14th or 15th, you're playing the 2 or 3 seed.
Yeah.
And that sounds a lot worse than, we're the, I guess, let's say, like the 5th seed going to the 4th seed, or the 7th seed going to the 2 seed.
Yeah.
And as a fan, you go, we're 15th, we're 14th.
But that could also bring about a lot of, like, hope and underdog. That would be, that would bring up a underdog vibe throughout many cities, right? Like, you're the 14 going against the 3. You want to cheer on your underdog team, right? Like,
yeah, but you're underdog.
In an aspect that could help. But I think the way that you
but you don't want to be the underdog. You want to be a team. You want to be the
dominant
mix.
team.
It just looks a lot worse finishing 14th than it does finishing, 5th in the East, because that sounds a lot better. So as a fan, you go, we finished 5th in the East. That's a good season.
But then it would also eliminate the Western and Eastern Conference champions.
I'm okay with that. Like, who really cares that much about? Nobody cares if you lose the NBA final. We won the East this year.
I guess. Are
you celebrating winning the East, or are you mad you lost the NBA final? You're mad you lost the NBA finals.
Fair.
Like, it's not that. I mean, obviously it matters, but it's not that big a deal, to be honest. Like you're all out for the one thing. You're out for the Larry O'B, and if you don't get that, ultimately you didn't like.
Yeah.
Like you're unsatisfied, and I don't think the incentive is there to win the East. The incentive is we want to go to the NBA Finals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the trophy's I think the trophy's just there because
it's just there.
Just there, like in anything. Nobody really cares about the winning the conferences.
It's a good take. Like, I do think this couldn't necessarily hurt the league, but I don't think that they would find any real incentive to put it in.
Yeah. I mean, it's already there's already glaring issues, and they would have. I mean, they're starting to take note of some stuff. Like they're proposing a new tournament, they're proposing different rules, but I think in the future they could consider this. But I don't see them putting it. I don't see it happening.
It would be cool to see if it actually does get some, some heat, or if talks are actually about this. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. But we'll leave it at that. Let us know what you think on our Twitter or Instagram at AmateurPDC. You can comment on YouTube. You can literally talk to me or Colin if you know who we are about it. We love discussing it.
Yeah.
Any topic suggestions that you have for a future episode, let us know. And as usual, stay tuned for the daily content.